Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. There are several signs of our housing market for newly built houses that point to a potential slowdown. According to new data that was released today by the US Census Bureau, they reported that sales of newly built houses dropped in June to their lowest level since April 2020. This is a very big surprise because analysts were predicting an increase in June, not a decrease. Home builder construction has also slowed down, so building permits, which is an indicator of future construction, fell more than expected and to its lowest level since August of last year. In addition, according to a new report that was released last week, mortgage applications for new home purchases dropped unexpectedly as well. Plus, I have an update for you regarding lumber prices because, as you probably know, lumber prices dropped big time over the past month, but they have been increasing a lot this week. And lastly, I'll share a mortgage interest rate update because those are approaching record low levels. Lots to cover in today's video, so if you get any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that, and also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. I post frequent housing market updates so you can make a more informed decision about whether to buy or sell a house. And with that said, let's begin today's video. The US Census Bureau reported today that new home sales dropped to its lowest level in over 1 year. Sales of new single-family houses fell 6.6% in June and 19.4% below last year's levels. Analysts were expecting new home sales to increase by 3.4% in June. In addition, when I was analyzing this report from the US Census Bureau, I noticed that the number of new home sales has now decreased for the last 3 months in a row. In March, 83,000 were sold, and that has now dropped to 60,000 in June of this year. Part of the reason why new home sales may have faltered in June may be due to rising home prices. So according to the US Census Bureau, in June, the median sales price in June was $362,000, and the average sales price was $429,000. This translates to a 6% year-over-year increase, which is a fairly large increase historically speaking, but nothing compared to double-digit gains that we saw earlier this year. Peter B., who's the Chief Investment Officer at the Bleakley Advisory Group, stated the following: "The moderation of home sales is likely a combination of sticker shock and the slowdown in the ability of builders to finish homes because of a variety of delays." Unlike earlier this year, this drop of new home sales does not seem to be due to the lack of housing inventory. This is because the supply of new houses for sale has been increasing for the last 3 months in a row. It also jumped from a 5.5 month supply in May to a 6.3 month supply in June, which is a 14.5% increase. So last October, it sat at a low of just 3.5 months, so housing supply has almost doubled since then. When I was looking at the trend of housing inventory for brand new houses this year, I noticed that the number of new houses for sale has increased for the last 5 months in a row. And because I'm a nerd, I looked up what the US Census Bureau deems as a new house for sale. And according to their definition on their website, they stated the following: "A house is considered to be for sale when it is being built to be sold and a permit to build has been issued in permit issuing places, or work has begun on the footings or foundation in non-permit areas, and a sales contract has not been signed nor a deposit has been accepted." So in other words, included in their housing inventory numbers on their website is the following: a permit has been pulled for new home construction, or work on the footings or foundation has begun, and a sales contract has not been signed by the builder and home buyer. Therefore, housing supply numbers on the US Census Bureau's website includes those where permits have been approved or pulled, but housing construction has not yet started by the home builder. When looking at those figures on the US Census Bureau's website, I noticed that it has increased over the last 6 months in a row, and it has risen 58% from June 2020. In addition, in June of this year, the number of houses for sale but not yet started hit an all-time high. To briefly summarize this, the number of builders who have pulled permits but have not yet started construction has been increasing. This, of course, is bad news for home buyers who are looking to buy a brand new house because this puts upward pressure on home prices. What I also found very interesting when I was analyzing this new report is that home builders are pulling permits, but in fewer numbers. Single-family housing starts have started to rise in June, but building permits fell more than expected last month to its lowest point since last August. In contrast, housing starts for single-family houses increased by 6.3% from May. This was led by a very strong increase of 34.4% in the Northeast region of the United States. In addition, the number of single-family houses completed decreased by 6.1% and has fallen for the last 3 months in a row. As CNBC reported, buyers in June were also hit with higher mortgage interest rates, which spiked about 0.25 percentage point during the month. While that may not sound like a lot, if buyers are already stretched by higher home prices, they have less of a financial cushion to absorb higher mortgage rates. And speaking of mortgages, the MBA, or the Mortgage Bankers Association, announced last week that the number of mortgage applications for new home purchases decreased by 3% from May 2021 and by 23.8% from June 2020. This was the third consecutive month of decreases, while the average loan amount surged to a new record high of $392,000. The reason why the average loan size for brand new home purchases has been increasing is due to the fact that we have fewer transactions in the lower price tiers, just like we're seeing in the housing market for existing houses. For example, 21% of all new home sales in June of this year were in the $500,000 to $749,000 price range. 1 year ago, it was only 11%. Joel Kahn of the MBA said home builders are encountering stronger headwinds as of late, as severe price increases for key building materials, rising regulatory costs, and labor shortages impact their ability to raise production. This has dampened new home sales and quickened home price growth. The National Association of Home Builders also reported this has lowered builder confidence as well. For example, one major hurdle that builders are encountering right now is the extremely high price of OSB, which is oriented strand board. To give you a very brief background, OSB is very similar to plywood, and it's a very important part in building a brand new house because it's used in the sheathing of walls and floors. As of July 8th of this year, the price of OSB has skyrocketed by more than 500% above its January 2020 level. This has put upward pressure on home prices of brand new houses. For example, in January of 2020, the price of OSB was only $200, but now it's over $1,400. The increase of lumber alone have increased the cost of building a house by $30,000. Speaking of lumber costs, lumber futures prices have decreased 19% from a month ago. However, they have increased 18% over the last week. Ultimately, the large price increases of building materials gets passed down to home buyers, but it also gets passed down to new tenants as well. According to the National Association of Home Builders, the increase in building costs and market value for new multifamily structure means tenants pay $92 more per month to rent the average new apartment due to the change in softwood lumber prices. So in other words, home buyers and tenants are getting To give you a quick interest rate update, mortgage rates are just above record low levels right now. So the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage dropped to 2.86% today, which is well below the 52-week high of 3.45%. So check out the links below if you want 2 free stocks or a real estate agent referral for virtually anywhere in the US. Check out the links below. Also, if you got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. You also can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.